When you see a non-key number like move from 4.5 to 5.5, it doesn't really give you any value.
I got one equation for you right now.
Can Justin Jefferson be stopped? I don't know.
Live the high life.
It's a close game.
The Taylor Heineke life. Yeah.
To bite some kneecaps.
I love this pick. Tampa has been overrated all season long, and the people who make the books are still on this. They got blown out by Blake Purdy.
This is a trap game if I've ever seen one.
Spread's the way to go. You just have to know how to bet it. Hey! Welcome to the Betting Bros. Math versus Smash.
I'm on vacation. This is Smashcation right here.
We're both on vacation, Smash. I'm just working.
Smashcation.
As a great doctor once said, I've been in the lab with a pen and a pad trying to get this damn podcast off.
Listen, I'm out in the sun, got my cigar, got my cocktail. You call me back for this, for the draft?
For the draft. The draft's important,
Easy
Smash.
money. Easy money. The draft is easy money, son.
See, the draft's great, though, Smash, because here's the thing. There's small limits. It's good for guys like us who, we don't bet big money, but we like odds. So we have low limits, and there's a lot of volatility.
High margins.
Anyone could be right in the draft. And the markets move like crazy. Like, let's just start with, so we did 11 picks on this, not 10, because the Carolina Panthers were already very favored to pick Bryce Young.
Very favored. Isn't it still like negative 800 or something?
It's minus 2,000.
2,000 now?
Yeah, you got to bet $20 to win $1.
$1. That's how sure they are on Bryce Young. So that's called consensus.
And yet Will Levis went from 100 to 1 to 4 to 1 this morning based on a Reddit post from someone who said that Will Levis told his family that he was, quote, getting drafted by the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It is interesting. It's worth coming back from vacation. We're here with you folks today telling you how to win some money on the draft. Let's do this.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through our first 11 picks, and then after that we're going to go through some picks that we like that might be further than the 11th pick, or just picks that are like first non-offensive player taken. All these markets are open, so there's always fun stuff to do. So with that, we can start with the Carolina Panthers.
Sure bet.
It's a sure bet. As you should smash the subscribe button, you should also smash that Bryce Young is going to be the first pick.
He's going to be the first pick. It would be an Oakland Raiders, not Las Vegas, because Las Vegas still hasn't done it. Oakland Raiders level surprise for it not to be Bryce Young.
And this is a little bit early, but one of the draft picks that I wanted to do was the Oakland Raiders to take the fastest wide receiver. The fastest wide receiver is not available currently to bet for the Oakland Raiders pick. And I feel like that's unfair.
You know what's funny is I do not have the Las Vegas Raiders taking a wide receiver.
Nor do I, but I really just want it. Like if it was 100-1, right? Like there's always a chance that the Oakland Raiders will pick the fastest person in the draft for absolutely.
But is Mark Davis like Al?
Yes. Look at the haircut.
Because of the haircut?
Are you going to trust any man with that haircut?
Yeah, I guess so. Plus, he moved his team to Las Vegas. Of course, that's one team that hasn't been fined for gambling yet.
You know, that's hilarious. But the wild thing with this is that so the Carolinas traded into this pick because they think they thought they had to, right? You know who really likes Bryce Young? The Houston Texans, who literally just had to lose a game to be in this position.
Yep.
There's still rumors that they still might trade for the first pick to take Bryce Young.
Funny thing is, if they don't get into that first overall pick, and I guess I'm getting into the second pick right now, Carolina takes Bryce Young. I don't have Houston taking a quarterback.
Nor do I. We can move on because it's pretty well known. No matter what, Bryce Young's going first. He's probably going to Carolina.
Yeah, for sure.
So if we move to 2, we move to Houston. So here's the interesting thing about Houston. Every team that needs a quarterback seems to be in the same darn division.
Yep.
So
that division is bad. We've said it before on the show.
So the Colts aren't going to trade with Houston to take the second pick because they don't think they need to. Because
they don't want to give Houston any like firepower.
They don't think that Houston likes Levis, and they know Houston doesn't like CJ Stroud. And they also don't like CJ Stroud.
Truth.
So they're not moving up. And so and then you talk about the Tennessee Titans. Big fans of CJ Stroud, but they're not going to trade with the Houston Texans. So you have this situation where Houston's going to be stuck, and they don't like any of the quarterbacks left.
And it's not a bad position for them to be in there, though, either, because they could get the most talented player in the draft.
All right, I want you to tell me who the most talented player in the draft
Will Anderson is the most talented player in this draft.
Jalen Carter is the most talented player in the draft.
Will Anderson is the most talented player in this draft. He is a great outside rush. He can apply pressure upfield. He contains better than last year's second overall pick, our own Aiden Hutchinson. He contains
You're not
better
wrong.
than him.
You're not wrong. He's great. It's just that, like, if there wasn't any, like, bad things tied to Jalen Carter, he was one of the most disruptive players, like, in a long time.
For sure. However, he's also a tweener.
He is kind of a tween.
The guy isn't a beast. He isn't a beast, but he doesn't have that reach of a defensive end either. Tyree Wilson would still be a better defensive end than him. Jalen Carter is, to this draft, why can't I remember his name? The Detroit Lions took a defensive tackle 8th overall.
You talking about the Alabama guy? Or no, it was Auburn guy.
The Auburn guy.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Talented, disruptive in college, but suddenly you're going to be looking at him trying to play against a bunch of 320, 330 guys who got a 3, 4, 5-inch reach on him. And I'm sorry, I think Jalen Carter is going to be a bust.
Who's the D tackle for the Rams?
Wait, you mean defensive end or defensive tackle?
Tackle. Big boy.
He's going to retire every season. I can't remember his name. This is why we need Trash here to Google stuff for us.
Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald also has short arms. In fairness, I didn't know that about Aaron Donald. We did just pull a famous Jacksonville coach issue because he also didn't know who Aaron Donald was.
We did. I should know who Aaron Donald is. 2-time possible MVP of the NFL. But Will Anderson will go second overall to the Houston Texans because they have no pass rush. They were last in the NFL last year. They're desperate to put pressure upfield. And with the rest of the conference focusing on getting a rookie quarterback, I think now is the time to get a pass rush. So I'm calling Houston to take Will Anderson, edge, outside linebacker, defensive end, whatever you want to call him, second overall in this year's draft.
I think it's a good pick. The interesting thing is they like Tyree Wilson better, but Tyree Wilson's foot's hurt. And
he's not a stand-up rusher, though, either. Tyree Wilson is a 3-point rusher.
But he has those long arms you're talking about.
He does.
He's got the rush. He fits their scheme better, but I wonder with the injury. I still think Tyree Wilson, but Will Anderson's a great pick, too. I think no matter what, they're taking an edge rusher. I think they're stuck. I don't think anyone wants to trade with him. And
nobody's going to trade with them there. Nobody's going to trade with them. It would be a super surprise.
Yeah. So I think Houston Texans are stuck. They take an edge rusher. Good for them. They've always had good edge rushers. They'll have another one.
And they need to replace J.J. Watt. That's the thing is losing him was such a loss to the franchise.
Next, we have another interesting pick, which is Arizona.
Yeah.
Which doesn't need a quarterback.
Does not need a quarterback. And everybody has them taking a quarterback. I don't understand the mentality.
So who do you have before I go? Because I'm interested.
I think so. Whether it's Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson, the other one that's left, and I have Tyree Wilson, obviously. Tyree Wilson, defensive end, has the reach. He is not a stand-up, but they play a 43 hybrid in Arizona in the first place. So they're constantly putting that defensive end. They're even shading him in that 3-eye technique inside the tackle. So you have a guy with the size, the speed, the agility, and the strength that can play all the positions that you need him to play inside that defense. That 4-3 hybrid where they're sometimes the defensive end drops back, sometimes he's shading in. He does a lot, It's Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, Tyree Wilson's is Aiden Hutchinson.
Tyree Wilson dreams he's Aiden Hutchinson, but yes.
So I say Tyree Wilson.
I think here's our first trade.
Uh-oh.
I think the Colts love Will Levis. They love him. I think the Colts get cold feet, and they're worried because there's news that the Patriots also like Will Levis. I think they get cold.
The Patriots are going to give up on Mac already?
They have cold feet, and they're going to go over the Arizona Cardinals to make sure that no one else can trade with Arizona to take Will Levis. I think the Colts trade with Arizona, maybe a second pick, maybe a third pick, not too much. I don't think there's a lot of capital that makes them go up that way unless Arizona's getting offers elsewhere. But I think the Colts trade up with Arizona, one pick to take Will Levis.
If there's a trade, the team that I see trading up into that spot, believe it or not, is Las Vegas. George III. He was on a playoff roll. We might want to listen to George III, man, because that dude was on a playoff roll when we ended the season. He was on a roll, but I'm not with you, man.
George, I've heard that the interview with the Colts and CJ Stroud went horrendous. They didn't even
George
finish.
III. I say the Colts are taking CJ Stroud. I am. They don't have a choice, and here's why. I guess we're going on to the fourth pick. Indianapolis is going to take CJ Stroud. Indianapolis is going to take CJ Stroud because they don't have a choice. The dude's floor is amazing. Out of the draft, he is already doing pro reads. He takes he takes the snap well. He looks downfield, he checks down, he does everything that you want out of a rookie quarterback. My comp for CJ Stroud is their now retired quarterback. And you know who I'm talking about because we were talking about earlier.
Which one?
The Colts now retired quarterback.
Peyton Manning?
No.
Oh, Andrew Luck. I thought you meant on the podcast, not on the phone, Smash. Not on the phone.
Indianapolis's position is such they have to take CJ Stroud because he is the closest thing that I have seen to suck for luck since luck.
No.
So, believe it or not, CJ Stroud is the best quarterback in this draft. He doesn't have the
Oh,
highest
he's
ceiling.
100% the best quarterback in this
He
draft.
does not have the highest ceiling. I will say that.
But
But he has the best floor. And the Colts want to win now. CJ Stroud could go in, throw 28 touchdowns, 14 interceptions for them next season. And they'll have to take CJ Stroud.
not that we're here, but I like just to talk about this. I think Bryce Young's best comp is Tua. Not from a size perspective, because he's definitely not Drew Brees. But
No,
just
he's
in the
not.
fact
He's
that,
not.
like, I think that Bryce Young's going to come in the league and he's going to get smacked.
Everybody's saying Michael Vick.
He's not fast enough, man. He's
And
not fast.
He is not Michael Vick. He's not Jalen Hurts. He's not Michael Vick. Like the guy, I don't know. Carolina's going to regret this pick, FYI.
Oh, they're very much going to regret this pick.
I think we have a situation where it's Ryan Leaf type scenario. I will say CJ Stroud is the can't miss pick. So shame on Carolina.
Oh, I agree. Like if you want to like above average to possibly great quarterback, CJ Stroud's is gonna do that thing.
I'll put him at good, kind of great. That's what I like. That's his ceiling. You're never gonna get. So CJ Stroud is not going to be Patrick Mahomes. So if they draft him thinking that they're going to get Patrick Mahomes, they're wrong.
Well, if you think you're drafting a once in a century, or not century, but like once in a
decade talent,
you're not going to draft a once in a decade talent that often.
No, it just doesn't happen. And so I think that CJ Stroud for Indianapolis makes so much sense. They have a good offensive line. They have a top 5 running back in the NFL. They have a bunch of decent receivers. Their defense last year was top 15 in the NFL. I think CJ Stroud puts them over the mark and actually might make them potentially the favorite in that division.
I completely agree, but everyone thinks Will Levis is more NFL ready. That's all I'm going to say.
I disagree. He has poor footwork, and that constantly plagues college quarterbacks. It takes years for them to get that right.
You know another quarterback that has terrible footwork that we'll talk about later? His name is Anthony Richardson.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
All right, so we got CJ Stroud to the Colts, right? That's what you had.
Who do you got? Because you said they're going to trade up.
I think they're going to trade up, and I think they're going to take Levis.
So then Indianapolis, Arizona is just going to turn around and take Will Anderson. Is that who you got?
No. Arizona Cardinals are going to take Paris Johnson, offensive tackle from Ohio State. There's smoke all over the place. Kyler Murray basically was like, I don't want to come back and play for this team if I don't get better protection. And my favorite offensive lineman on the board is Paris Johnson.
Kyler Murray doesn't get protection because he's the worst in the NFL holding the football.
Oh, I completely agree. Well, Joe Burrow might have something to say about that.
But
Joe Burrow's hanging in the pocket.
Joe Burrow's also a hell of a lot tougher than Kyler Murray.
Oh, yes. Tough as nails, man. I love Joe Burrow, but that man holds the ball too long. I think it's Paris Johnson. I think there's some smoke around this. I think he's the first non-quarterback.
You don't think Skoronski is the first offensive tackle off the board?
Oh, no. I think Paris Johnson's better. I think Skoronski's less tested.
With that size? I don't know, man.
This is where I get back into the CJ Stroud debate. Like, everyone talks about CJ Stroud. They're like, well, we don't trust CJ Stroud because everything's been good for him. And he has good receivers. And he has good this and he has good that. It's like, but he's also playing some of the best teams in the nation. Like, that's what the NFL is. Everyone's like, well, Will Levis had nothing.
He struggled in one particular good team the past 2 years.
Well, yes, but he also played amazing against the best defense in college.
He didn't take Clemson to the brink. I don't like.
He's taken many players. Like, CJ Stroud is very, very good against great teams. And he wasn't that bad against Michigan. There was other problems against Michigan.
Yeah, defense
primarily. But and it's the same with Paris Johnson. It's like, I would rather take someone who's seen Georgia's offensive line and held up. They scored points, man. All the players that you just listed that are like the best in the draft, you know who they played for? Georgia. Well, you know who played against them and almost won and should have won? Ohio State.
A field goal.
A field goal at the ball drop.
At the ball drop, we were watching, and we had to do a health check on our friend.
How many people had to miss that kick because they had to watch the ball drop with their wife? That's the real question.
We watched that ball drop. We watched that kick.
We kind of watched both, but that's okay.
Oh, I did. Next up,
we have the Hawks, and this is a really interesting pick.
I'm going to disagree with you on this pick, I think.
Well, I will, because your player's already off the board that I'm going to pick, but I'll let you lead off.
Seattle hasn't in years had a premier defensive tackle, and they play 43 cover 2. So suddenly you're talking about that tweener that I mentioned earlier being a premier defensive tackle for Seattle. They're going to put Jalen Carter there, and actually, if he's in that system, he's going to thrive. I have Jalen Carter going to the Seattle Seahawks at number 5.
Here's the thing. Jalen Carter has been both listed to the Lions and Seattle. These organizations are so similar right now.
Oh, so like they're hungry. They're both hungry.
They're like literally the 1 and 2 who is going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you have, I know Pete Carroll's much older than Dan Campbell, but like similar sensibilities.
Yeah. I see it.
I don't think Seattle wants that in their locker room, man.
How can you pass if so according to my draft, Jalen Carter falls to 5. Last year, the Seattle Seahawks had the worst inside the tackle yards per carry in their division.
And
now,
I agree.
San Francisco, they have to play. So that's the other part. But Jalen Carter could fill this position for them and be the kind of guy that plays that 3 technique tackle in that cover 2. I mean, that's
I like a tweener in Seattle as well, but I like Will Anderson.
But then you're talking about a guy who has to go from, Will Anderson playing that stand-up outside linebacker position. Now he has to go into that 3-point stance.
He doesn't have to. Hutchinson doesn't do a 3-point stance all the time.
Not all the time. I guess I did.
This is the new NFL, Smash. We're not playing in 1992 with
Jalen Carter
on the West Coast.
Is tailor-made for that defense as he is. Tailor-made. The guy is going to show up day 1, have 8 sacks, be like 5th on the team in tackles, an instant kind of impact, and they're getting him at the 5th pick.
Oh, it's great value, but I think so. Let me check on the phone. Sorry, guys. The markets are literally changing every 2 seconds, so I'm not going to put graphics up because it's not even worth it. So let's look at where the over-under on where Jalen Carter is going to be drafted is, because this
don't forget, he's a problem. And
he's a huge problem.
Pete Carroll loves a problem. He takes on problems he loves to fix a problem. He is just like Bill Belichick. He'll take on a problem that's talented and make him not a problem.
Oh, they took it down. So it's not even available. Oh, no, there it is. Jalen Carter, over 6.5 is minus 150. So that means you got to pay $1.50 for every dollar.
Yep.
You're always paying juice. You're always paying 110, but regardless.
Yep.
Under 6.5 is plus 110. So the market thinks
that might be a good bet because he is a problem. And there are so many people in that top 10 that
I like Jalen Carter over 6.5. That I do. I've seen problems fall so many times in the draft. And that's the same with Tyree Wilson.
It happens.
It's the same with Tyree Wilson. I know I have him at 2.
The only other defense in the top 10 that makes sense is Chicago. That is the only other defense, and they don't need a 3 technique.
Hey, you stop taking my picks. So, all right, we got Smash has Jalen, which a lot of people do. Jalen's a good pick. I have Will Anderson. I just think best defensive player falls to Seattle. So it's one or the other.
I mean, we're aligned on defense at least. They need defense.
All right, so for a quick intermission, guys, we got to be ready because this is a very important team.
This is a very important pick that's coming.
A shining team that will not yield, with the blue and silver wave, stand and chill the ring.
Hold Hold on. The Detroit Lions are now on the clock.
With the 6th pick.
With the 6th pick that was gifted to us. Okay, Matt Stafford, I'm so glad he won a Super Bowl now.
Yep.
We love Matt Stafford. Thank you, Matt, for your years of service, and thank you for this pick.
The Detroit Lions take Nolan Smith, outside linebacker.
And I think that's a great pick. But
It's a great pick. Pairing him with Aiden Hutchinson in that flex role? Come on, man. That guy, they will have the best pass rush in the NFC North.
I agree, but I have a different pick because I have a trade. This is the second trade I've had.
2 trades from Math.
The Tennessee Titans get cold feet. They want CJ Stroud bad, and they've seen him fall to the 6th pick. I think the Tennessee Titans trade the Lions because there's no affiliation, AFC, NFC. There's nothing. There's no. Who cares who does what? We don't play Tennessee this year. They're going to come up and they're going to take CJ Stroud.
If that happens, the Lions still probably get Nolan Smith.
Oh, I think so. So we'll get to the Lions in the back end. If CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson fall to the 6th pick, the Lions phones are going to be ringing off the hook.
I got an answer for George III if you want to give me that answer, if you want me to answer that right now. George, the Lions take, get ready for this, Anthony Richardson at 18th overall.
They very well could, because who knows? Who knows?
You heard it here. I called. Do you remember who was the crappy tight end they drafted that I called?
Ebron?
Yeah. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Or Hawkinson? Because he's on a different team now too.
So the Detroit Lions will stand pat, draft the 2nd best pass rusher in the draft at 6th overall, and Anthony Richardson will fall to them at 18 because nobody between there really needs a quarterback. So you say Las Vegas, right? And I'll get to that in the next pick. You say Las Vegas, but the Lions can take Anthony Richardson at 18th overall, and he can sit behind Jared Goff and become Cam Newton.
Don't forget that the Raiders are freaking insane.
That's why they're going to take a quarterback. But they're going to take a quarterback named Will Levis.
No. I think that's why Tennessee gets worried about Anthony Richardson. Tennessee's sitting there, they're like, dude, that haircut, we have no idea what he's going to do. And he often picks the physically best player, right? So they want to get in front of the Raiders. That's why they're coming up for Stroud.
I mean, they do, but I just see. So here's the thing: Lions stand pat. Like Nolan Smith is, he is a Detroit Lions player right now. He's physical. He's angry.
Oh yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. But I like him later.
So if you're Dan Campbell,
there's no way that someone's not going to trade us for that pick.
I don't want
no way.
If they do great, oh my God. But please let math be right and let CJ Stroud still be there at 6th overall, because you will have a host of picks.
Also, CJ Stroud deserves to be picked number 6.
CJ Stroud probably deserves to be picked number 1 overall. Let's be honest.
We know this, but the wife did not win in the Carolina Panthers. The wife likes CJ Stroud. The owner, what's up, Jason? Nice to see you, man.
What's up, buddy?
We're knee deep in the Lions pick right now.
Knee deep in the Lions pick, man.
So I think CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson are still here. I think the Lions phones ring off the hook because I just think a lot of teams need a quarterback, and we'll see what happens. So, okay, I say CJ Stroud to the Titans. You say
Nolan Smith to the Detroit Lions.
Nolan Smith to the Detroit Lions. All right, so we're at number 7, so we're getting close here, team.
Yep.
Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to lead out because you have craziness going on.
You lead out. You do this.
They're taking Christian Gonzalez. He fits their scheme better than Devin Witherspoon. And I just think from this side, I think the Las Vegas Raiders are actually going to play it right this time. They're going to shore up their defense because it's horrendous, and they're playing the two two really good quarterbacks in their league, if not three. I think they need a corner.
I think they take Will Levis, who supposedly is the most NFL-ready quarterback in the draft. Supposedly. Now, I have Christian Gonzalez going, or did you say Devin Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez?
I said Christian Gonzalez, even though Devin Witherspoon's rated higher.
I think Devin Witherspoon's a better cornerback, but I actually have Gonzalez going to Pittsburgh at 17.
Oh, I have a much better pick at 17, but that's okay. We can talk about that. Since you brought it up, we'll talk about that when we get to the end. This is pretty easy, though. The Raiders are either going to do something crazy or they're going to pick a corner. Atlanta Falcons.
They have to take Devin Witherspoon here.
No. The Atlanta Falcons are jumping up and down, and it's not because Bijan Robinson's fall to him. I think that's a smokescreen.
Yeah, they don't need Bijan Robinson.
They can get that production out of a 5th round pick. They don't need Bijan. But what they want is they want Anthony Richardson. This is where he goes.
What? They already have Anthony Richardson sitting on the bench, basically.
No. They do not. They do not have Anthony Richardson sitting on the bench.
I disagree, man. I didn't like. Why?
They are going to run the wing T. It's coming. They're going to run single wing. They're going to run all these crazy, wild formations, and they're the team that's built the best for it.
You're not wrong about them being built for it, but why did they waste their draft pick last year on Desmond Ridder?
He was 3rd round though.
Yeah, and he did fine. He didn't do bad.
Dude, Hotlanta wants to see something more exciting than Desmond Ridder. They want to sell tickets.
In that role, they got him. Give him a chance.
They're going to run the option, man.
Give Desmond Ridder a chance. I have Atlanta taking Devin Witherspoon because their defense was the reason they were
RPO comes to the NFL in full force at pick number 8.
Okay. I just don't see. I don't know. I don't see it.
I'm feeling it. And that one's out
Don't
there.
Forget,
guys.
Arthur Smith is like one of the most conservative general managers in the NFL.
And yet he played Marcus Mariota.
That was a conservative mood. Marcus Mariota was a veteran, a journeyman coming there, running their offense.
Yeah, and ran the piss out of the ball. Now they can run the piss out of the ball because their quarterback can't throw. It's amazing. It's a match made in heaven. The only better place is like Baltimore comes up and gets this pick, right? It's one or the other, right?
And they finally, that is one thing that I think I wish I could bet on. Maybe you could find a bet on this. I don't know. Lamar Jackson is not a Baltimore Raven after the first day.
It could be. It's very possible. And if you could get like 10, 20, 30 to 1 on that, why not?
I'd put $10 on it. I'd put $10 that Lamar Jackson after day 1 is no longer a Baltimore Raven.
I don't think
I have Najaba going to Green Bay at 13th overall, George.
How dare you?
They're going to draft a receiver.
They're 100% going to draft a receiver. You took my pick. You stole my thunder.
Oh.
Because we are going to talk about the Packers because the Packers must be talked about because I hate them.
Well, plus they made the move yesterday.
It's big. The Jets are not going to go to the Jets might not even go to the playoffs, team. That is a darn near impossible division. And Aaron Rodgers was not good last year.
No, he fell QBR rating below a quarterback that we have often maligned on this show, Russell Wilson.
Who's Derpy Entertainment? He's out there coming after us. Coming after us.
Whoa, I'm on vacation, son. What do you know about vacation?
In fairness, we're
vacation.
We're both on vacation. I'm just working. Smash is just in for the minute that he feels like he wants to show up.
And I got to get off the beach once in a while.
Truth. Look at that complexion. Tell me that man's out on the beach. He's wearing, dude, Smash is out there wearing
120 proof sunscreen.
Nah, Smash is out there wearing one of those long sleeve swim shirts.
Like
with a hat on.
1920 with the swim cap.
All right, so now we move to everyone's favorite, the Super Bowl Shuffle, the Chicago Bears.
I I'm telling you right now, if he falls here and the Chicago Bears do not take him, this is a mistake of mistakes. The Chicago Bears, the 9th overall pick, take Bijan Robinson.
The Chicago Bears are doing no such thing.
They have to. They don't have anybody now.
The Chicago Bears are stopping the free fall, and they don't need anyone. Justin Fields runs all the touchdowns anyways. Jalen Carter makes perfect sense for the Bears because the Bears don't have the culture that really like that Pete Carroll and then the Lions have. The Bears are just looking for lottery tickets because they're like
looking for lottery tickets. I like that.
No one expects the Bears to win this year. So if Jalen Carter busts, it's a pick from someone else, but he's the most talented player on the board, and he could wreak havoc in the NFC North for years.
I think the Bears smell blood in the water, just like the Lions. The Chicago Bears, I hate them. You know this. They are my least favorite team. The Chicago Bears are next year's Detroit Lions. I'm calling it here. The Chicago Bears are next year's Detroit Lions. So if you got your futures, if you want to put your futures right now, I have no idea what they're at. I'm sure Math knows the number. The Bears to make the playoffs next year.
That's not up yet in anywhere other than offshore, but I'm sure after the draft you might be able to get that.
They take Bijan Robinson, and next year they're the 8-9 team that surprises everybody.
I think Bijan Robinson's an impact player. I just don't think he's an
impact. And talk about like a team running the zone read right there, man. They could run the ball. They could run the ball just like the Falcons did last year. They have Bijan Robinson.
Maybe. Or they could just find someone off the scrap heap to get 1,000 yards.
I mean, these days.
So, okay. So, I got Jalen. I think Jalen Carter's slide stops here well over 6.5, so we're fine. And I think he goes, and Smash has none other than Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, the second best player in the draft, probably.
So the Philadelphia Eagles are now on the clock, and let's talk about a luxury pick if there ever was one.
Luxury pick at 10th overall.
And that's why I'm going to go first. Bijan Robinson is going to the Eagles. Another playmaker. One more playmaker that they didn't have.
They already have 3 running backs.
They don't. Dude, Miles Sanders is the most overrated running back on the face of the planet.
Yeah, but when you have 3 of them, what does it matter?
Because Bijan Robinson's better than all 3.
I mean, he is. But the best running back is taking snaps at quarterback.
And now we're running the RPO with Jalen Hurts again. But also that guy can kind of throw.
I think Philadelphia, because it's such a luxury pick, takes the next best pass rusher left on the board, Kalijah Kancey.
Wow. That is a reach.
And it's a luxury pick. He's a tweener. They can flex him just like they do all their defensive linemen up and down the defensive line. He can play defensive end. He can play the 1 technique. He can play the 3 technique. The dude is... Oh! I actually didn't know that, George. I was on vacation.
Oh, that's right. He switched. So even more so. They're definitely...
That reinforces math right there.
They're going to take Bijan, man. I'm telling you.
I actually didn't know that.
But still, I think your pick is good. But like Miles Murphy is still, I think Miles Murphy's still there. I think there's other picks you can take there. What about the kid from Kansas State?
Well, I mean, this is my thought was like they don't have Sue signed again, and they love rotating their defensive linemen. They had 5 defensive linemen with over 5 sacks last year. That was my thought.
So we try to keep this to minimal trades, but I will say another thing that might be out there. The Eagles might move up for Carter, and I've heard some smoke on that.
If they did move up for Carter, he would be a great fit for their system because he can play both defensive end and defensive tackle.
Yeah. Rashad Penny, who always gets
Trace, yeah.
Kenneth Gainwell can't like take that kind of load. Boston Scott literally only scores touchdowns against the Giants, and Trey Sermon's not very good. So yeah, they could very well take Bijan Robinson.
If Bijan Robinson is there, and I don't think he would be. If he is, that's a gimme. If Bijan Robinson is there, given that lineup, if Bijan Robinson is there at 10th overall, Philadelphia takes him. I just don't see how does he escape 3 teams that need running backs? How does he escape that?
We shall see. I don't know. So then we get to our last pick, which for
we differ on this one.
For Smash, this is the Titans. For me, it's the Lions.
Yep.
I'll lead out. I think the Lions take Witherspoon.
If they had that pick and he was there, that would be, oh my God, that'd be a coup.
I think the Lions take Witherspoon. They fill the Okudah hole that didn't work out. We get a draft pick much lower down the board. We got some value. Who knows what we got from the Titans? But from that perspective, Witherspoon's good. Nolan Smith's still on the board too.
Yep.
So we could get
I would see them take, if they were there, I'd see them taking Nolan Smith if he escaped it. I'm with George III. The Tennessee Titans take Hendon Hooker as the hometown boy.
Nah, dude, they're gonna take.
He is rising up. He's been rising up, and lately Anthony Richardson's received a lot of hate.
If CJ Stroud's on the board, that Mike Vrabel is taking the Buckeye. He's promise you.
Take CJ Stroud. There's no way he escapes. There's no way if CJ Stroud escapes the top 10.
Well, then Tennessee's traded up for him because they are the ones that value him the most by far and away.
I don't see the teams trading. I just don't see that'd be a silly trade for Indianapolis to sit there at 4, and I don't know. They would have to trade above Indianapolis. And why would Houston or Arizona trade? Why would they trade to Tennessee?
That's why Arizona is important.
I don't.
So Tennessee could move there too and take Stroud. It's possible.
I think Tennessee rolls one more year with their quarterback.
Absolutely not.
Yep. And they take the hometown boy, Hendon Hooker. And how many times do teams do this? They take the hometown boy, they run him out there. People want to sign up for it. It's a good bet for Tennessee.
But Tennessee doesn't even like Hendon Hooker that much because he's hurt.
That's
old.
why Tennessee is.
He's old. You can't take his house away from him. He's too old.
He's too old. Hey, 25. We're not talking about the dude from Georgia.
Stenson
Bennett. Like, we're not talking about Bennett. We're talking about
how do you graduate college with 3 DD or 3 drunk drivings?
We're not talking about Bennett. We're talking about a guy who has possibly the best arm strength in this draft.
No,
he does possibly.
He's old. He's not valuable. The Titans are going to rebuild. They're going to go.
If they don't take Hendon Hooker, they'll take, in my draft, they take Richardson. They'll take I'm a Georgia III. They'll take the next best quarterback. Whoever they think the next best quarterback is, they'll take him. I think
Stroud's still on the board. You said Stroud's the number 1 quarterback.
Well, yeah, but like they'd have to trade up teams are going to charge them so much capital.
Who else is going to move up for Stroud, though? That's the question.
Stroud's going to go to Indianapolis. I told you that.
No, Stroud is. I already know that the Colts are not going to pick CJ Stroud.
You don't know that.
I know.
It's all PR.
I'm telling you, man.
You heard it on a Reddit post?
No, I did not hear it on a Reddit post. Talk to my boy Shefty.
Yeah. So what are our stretches here? Because my favorite stretch by far is Anthony Richardson dropping to Detroit at the 18th pick.
Not a lot of stretches. I think my favorite pick by far is Jackson Smith and Jigba to the Green Bay Packers because I think it's hilarious.
Dude, that's gonna happen. You and I are both on that.
Oh yeah.
Like, talk about a bomb pick though. That kid is smaller than Jameson Williams.
Yeah, but he just has to fit in the slot. It's fine. He'd be all right.
I guess. Jordan Love isn't gonna do anything. I can't wait for Green Bay to go 1-15.
I think the Commanders take Emmanuel Forbes.
I got him at Dalton Kincaid. They need a tight end.
No, they're not going to take a tight end.
Where's Kincaid going to go then? The dude should be a top 10 pick, but he won't be.
Dallas Cowboys.
I thought about that. I did originally have that. I had that originally, but I have Michael Mayer going to the Dallas Cowboys.
No, Dalton's a better run blocker. They're either gonna draft him at 26 or they're gonna come up for him.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I do it. I'm with you. I have Dallas taking the tight end, but because I think Washington takes Kincaid. Ooh. So you're talking about with their second pick?
With the 12th pick. I'm curious.
I have them taking Peter Skoronski with their second pick.
I think that Houston continues to shore up the defensive line. I honestly think they take Lucas Van Ness.
Lucas Van Ness.
He's basically a D tackle.
Jet. That dude is a jet. I'm telling you, he fits that scheme. Lucas
You're gonna
Van
laugh
Ness,
who I have for the Jets. I have Nolan Smith as a Jet.
I mean, it's the same. Like I have Nolan Smith going 6, so that's. I mean, if Nolan Smith was there, they would take it. It's the same thing. I agree, George, but like, here's the problem.
None of them are good enough.
Where they're picking at 12, it makes no sense. But Peter Skoronski is a top 15 pick. The dude is a great tackle. He's a great.
Zay Flowers is like 5'9" and doesn't run over a 5 or 4.5 or 4.4. Like how? And he played for TCU. You think
I did.
I can score on the Big 12.
And the problem is this is a really weak wide receiver draft. And if I were the Texans, like, man, you know you're going to be bad next year. You know you're going to be bad.
And there'll be receivers. There'll be receivers late on.
They could, but so Math already has 2 trade downs I wonder, I don't have the numbers on it, but I wonder how many times a team is traded down statistically from the top 10 pick. Like, what's the likelihood for that actually to happen?
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, it makes sense if they keep getting value. Because they're not a.
You want to know what my biggest stretch probably is though on my draft board? I think San Diego takes Brian Branch at 21 overall, a safety that should be in the second round, but they need a safety so bad. That defense has nobody over the top that I think that they panic and take Brian Branch at 21 overall.
See, I'm a little different. I think Brian Branch goes to Tampa at 19. I think he goes even earlier.
Tampa needs a tackle. Paris Johnson goes to Tampa at 19.
No, Paris Johnson's long gone, buddy. He went.
No way.
He went to the Cardinals.
Way.
He went to the Cardinals. He's long gone. And if he doesn't go to the Cardinals, he's going to the Patriots.
Skoronski is the better offensive tackle, first of all.
Yeah,
Second of all, the New England Patriots are going to take Broderick Jones, even though Paris Johnson is better, because Broderick Jones can play guard and tackle, and they're obsessed with getting people that can play both positions.
No. Who do we think the Lions take at 18?
I told you.
I think they take another.
Look at George's third.
You're telling me, George, I'm the one working in here. I'm the one working algorithms. He's the one out there vacationing.
Somebody's got to take a vacation.
So, okay. I think the Lions take the Aaron Donald heir apparent, and they take KJ Cansey out of Pittsburgh.
You don't think that's a stretch?
I like the explosiveness. I like the motor.
So if they don't take, I see Anthony Richardson falling there, and that's a luxury. Then they can take him, and that's where Anthony Richardson, to me, which is crazy, I think he should be a 3rd round pick. But because he's so blown up, that's why I have him going. He's got to go in the 1st round. Now, if they don't take Anthony Richardson, what I think that they need to do, they have to take Emmanuel Forbes there.
He's a playmaker.
He's a playmaker. He can play safety. He can play corner. And he fits into that slot position that they don't necessarily have.
No, he's too small to play safety. He's too small.
He played in college.
Dude's 5'8.5", 170. I'm 6 foot 170. Like I am not playing. Like I've met college players before many times. And let me tell you, no.
I would not hate. I can't believe I'm saying this. I also wouldn't hate, although I think he's going to be a Baltimore Raven, Will McDonald.
Yeah, I will. I will go into the Saints.
Saints don't play a 3-4.
Still need an outside linebacker.
Well, yeah, but like he is a stand-up rusher. He's
My
I've
favorite
never
pick of
seen.
the draft, outside of the Green Bay Packers picking a wide receiver,
Yeah.
is the Steelers are going to take Joey Porter Jr. It's going to happen.
I mean, he's legacy, right?
And they love it, man. If there is a team that is based on legacy, it really is the Steelers. Like, I know, like, people talk Green Bay, but like Green Bay has some different ways
So
doing it.
the important question is, who do you have going to Kansas City? Because that is a pick that I think is interesting. Them sitting at 31 with virtually no needs, right? I mean,
They have a
really,
lot of needs. They have a lot of needs. It's on the defensive side of the ball.
I think they'll go defense. Who do you have then?
I have Brian Breesy from Clemson. I think they take
Okay,
the
that's a
tackle.
good pick. Miles Murphy.
Yeah, he's good too. I have him going to the Eagles. Like you said, the Eagles want another defensive player. I think it's Murphy.
So you had them taking. This is the funny part. You had them taking Bijan Robinson. I have them taking Jahmyr Gibbs with the 30th pick.
That's a possibility too.
He's the
Also,
bigger running back, isn't he?
The interesting thing about him is like Zach Charbonnet is the more 3-down running back though. That's someone who could sneakily fall into the first round.
He could. I did like
the Bears could come back, right? Like Charbonnet would be a perfect.
The Bears need a running back.
Bears could come back. I mean, who knows?
I
don't know what the Bengals are going to take.
I have Zay Flowers going to the Bengals because that makes so much sense to me. Makes so much sense to me.
They need so much help on the offensive line. The problem is there's none left.
There's none left. Why would they take it? So Steve Avila is going to go to Jacksonville with the 24th pick, and he's the next best offensive lineman after those tackles.
You and I are the same. We both have Avila at 24.
Well, that's it. Like Avila going to the Jacksonville Jaguars just makes sense. He actually should be a second-round pick, but
he's the only guard.
He's the only guard, and somebody's going to take him in the first round.
I have the Cincinnati Bengals taking Darnell Wright. I know it's a reach for a tackle.
That's a reach. He's supposed to be what, 38 or something, 37?
It's 10 picks. They're the Bengals. Who cares?
I guess. Yeah. I mean, they made the playoffs 2 years in a row. You know what Joey Porter going to though is Minnesota.
No, I don't want
They need a corner. They need a cornerback.
I have no interest in Joey Porter being in the NFC North. Not one. I haven't taken Jordan Addison. I think they take another wide receiver.
Well, for what it's worth, ladies and gentlemen, the bets that we both kind of agree on, I really like the idea of Jalen Carter plus 6.5, even though I have him going at 5 overall to Seattle. I like the idea of Jalen Carter 6.5 just because he's a problem. Math has mentioned this to me. I do like the idea of 4 quarterbacks going before the 5th pick. Now, I don't have it in my draft, but it's a good line. For what it's worth, that's a good line, and I don't hate the bet. Putting $10 that 4 quarterbacks go is not a bad idea.
I think you can do like, what is it? There's so many picks. Like if you want to do like first offensive player off the board, non-quarterback, I think it's Paris Johnson. I think there's smoke. I think there's fire where there is smoke in that pick with the Arizona Cardinals, and I think they're just dumb enough to do it.
How is it not Bijan Robinson?
Not the Cardinals. You're saying the Bears.
Yeah, how is Bijan Robinson not the first non-quarterback? How is he not? The guy in the 90s would have been a first overall pick.
Because it's not the 90s. And because the Arizona Cardinals are one of the worst ran franchises in the NFL.
But they have that new nerdy coach. I don't know.
I'm telling you, man, it's Paris Johnson. I know they already have a tackle. I don't care. I believe in the smoke, and I think it's hilarious. I'm just going to roll with that one. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great picks out there, guys. But here's the thing. Outside of the top 10 is pure speculation. No one knows because
it is. I mean, we're sitting here telling you this stuff not because we're experts necessarily who's going to go where, because all these people say they're experts in the draft. Man, I'll never forget sitting at B-Dubs and seeing at the time, Oakland Raiders. What was that receiver they drafted that nobody had any video on even in the first round?
Oh, God. It was Bay.
Yeah, Darius Bay. They
Darius
take
Hayward
Darius
bet.
Bay in the first round of, I think it was like the 23rd pick or something like that. And they didn't even have video on the guy. So for what it's worth, a couple of good lines there, sure. But betting, I have them going corner, George.
I have them going Quentin Johnston. I think they put another receiver in that area. I don't think the Giants are in so much trouble in that spot as they just. I mean, they might go offensive
weird
line.
Spot. Being in the mid-20s is a weird spot.
I mean, no one's going to fault them for taking a center or a guard or a tackle, right? I mean, they're in the 25th pick. Who cares?
But for what it's worth, that's my stance. I think the draft's going to be hard to pick.
It's going to be darn near impossible.
Yeah.
There's too much trade potential in the top 4.
You got anything else for the people, man?
I don't think so. Let's see here. What do we got here? I wonder if I can show my phone. Let's see. Can it? Nah, no one's gonna be able to see that.
Yeah, it doesn't show up.
Or maybe. Okay. I got Aaron Badley, Matt Duffy, Hogard, Novak, Ray, and Patrick Rogers going for golf this week.
Hit it up.
The golf. This is a bad week for golf. Let me tell you what's going on there. We are on a non-elevated event, so that means no one's playing. Except for the best player in the world, John Rahm, has decided to play. Oh, we got a timeout from Smash. He doesn't know anything about golf anyways.
I don't know anything about golf.
But I think that lineup's pretty solid. There's some things going on there as far as Aaron Rye's been hot. Who else we got here? Hogard is so much fun to play in non-elevated events. He's from the Netherlands. He doesn't play in the PGA Tour all the time. He plays in the European Tour, which is interesting. Patrick Rogers bombs the ball, which is important on this course. And I've hit on golf before, so I just think it's a good buy. So I have a golf pick. I don't have a NASCAR pick yet, but I will have one up this week. Let's see, what other picks could we go with that I think are interesting? I mean, Paris Johnson going early is very, very highly rated very, very highly as far as odds. So Paris Johnson, I think to go to the Cardinals is 15-1. So if you want to put some dollars on that, that's fun.
George has a good point with Matt Breida, but here's the thing is a running back past the first round.
There's plenty of other running backs.
Yeah. I don't.
Who's the Texans running back?
Oh,
what's his name?
I had him in fantasy too.
I know. So I've had him before as well.
There's so much value now in terms of
Dameon Pierce.
Yeah.
Dameon Pierce is a 5th round pick.
Yep. There's so much value there, and I don't know. Running back is so different now in 2023 as opposed to what it was in 1993. Running back by committee is the way. Not to quote the Mandalorian, but it is the way. So you're never going to see a team you just don't see it. Think about this right now. How many teams actually have bell cows? 2?
I mean, one's trading theirs.
Yeah, they're trying to. Tennessee is trying to trade Tractor Cito, and the Giants with Saquon Barkley. That's really it. People might say Minnesota, but when's the last time that Minnesota's running back finished a whole season?
Yeah, Dalvin Cook would be there.
Madison comes in all the time for him.
Austin Eckler is begging teams to take him.
I
think Bijan's nice because if he's good, you might get a 5th year out of him.
Yeah.
And he's a luxury. But he's a luxury. That's why I like him to the Eagles. A great running back in this era of the NFL is a luxury. It is not a necessity.
Oh, McCaffrey. I mean, George's right about this, but the Niners also have the running backs to spell McCaffrey constantly.
McCaffrey is no longer a running back. McCaffrey is an offensive player. Him and Deebo Samuel are essentially the same player for what they do.
I've heard in their offense anyway. Yeah. Poor Deebo. I don't know. I feel bad for that dude.
I don't feel bad for anyone who plays for San Francisco. They're fine.
They should have lined Devo up at quarterback. I bet you could have done it.
They did. It didn't work that well.
Well, I think this about covers it. We got our tight 60. Anything to leave him with?
I'll leave him with this. Boo!
I was Smash.
I'm
This is
Math. We're happy to see you guys again. We'll see you guys in a couple months again. There's just not enough news to obviously do this all the time. We are an NFL podcast. I am not comfortable enough to give you too much other advice other than I know some smart people that know golf, luckily enough. And I've won the most money on golf. So there it is, outside of the NFL. So with that, we'll leave you. Thanks for everyone for joining us again. 2 days, the draft's going to be a really good time. And just remember, you can bet the spread. You just have to know how to do it. And we're out.